Good morning, everybody. One more day. That's it. That's all we got to do. One more. We go to sleep tonight. We wake up tomorrow. It's UTOU Red River rivalry. I don't know about you boys, but I'm excited about this game. Let's start with Aaron. We'll go to Nash. Give me quick. What's your just gut instinct? Blowout, tight game. What are you looking at?
No, I'm starting. I mean, we did our picks yesterday. I'm starting to. I don't know. I said all week. Like at first, I was like, man, I'm nervous. This is a rivalry game. Like weird stuff's gonna happen. Like Texas is due for just a close game. Someone's gonna play well against them. And then I was like, no. I keep looking at the matchups and stuff. Like I think Texas can win this handily. And now I'm just back to just being nervous. So like I think this is gonna be tight. So I'm just like my emotions are out of control. But yeah, I think it might be kind of close.
Nash.
Hey, I'm just happy to be going to another Red River.
Yeah,
so far, I'm like, at the end of the day, all I want to see is a great game. And a great game can be anything from a really just a close game, just one of these classic rivalry games that you always see. And then I understand, I was watching another college football channel and he was saying, hey, I understand Texas fans, y'all like the blowout, but us college football fans, we want to see a close game. We want to see, Texas versus Oklahoma. No, I want to see a blowout too. So I'm fine with the blowout. I'm fine with the 49-0.
I was just about to ask you if 49-0 qualified as a great game.
If we go 49-0 a second year in a row, Oklahoma fans, you might as well just hop off the internet for an entire year.
Hop off. They just got the internet. You tell them to leave.
Yeah, no.
Elon Musk just provided them with the first internet. And the
Sooner fans, if you are on board, that's okay. Stick around. We love it. I love the interaction in the chat, especially, which is up and running. Rodolfo with the W today. He's the first in the house, beating out Zovi, who was the first yesterday. Benny Rogers, kind of off your game this week, Benny. You haven't gotten first but that's okay. We still love you. Good morning, Benny. We're glad to have you. And we're glad to have Rogue Shop in the house. He's got a long drive to Dallas today, so he's grateful for OB Live. We're grateful for OB Live too, by the way. A lot of good shows coming up today. We'll get to more of that later. Colton in the house, giving us all three of us a good morning individually.
Funny thing about Colton, he watches old-fashioned sports show with Anwar, and we have another viewer, Cotton, on the channel.
Yeah,
and Anwar has I guess he has dyslexia from time to time. He always says Colton is Cotton. He's like, we got two Cottons in the house. And then Colton always corrects him in the chat, but he never sees that chat. So now I haven't corrected him. I'm just going to let it be a running bit. And he just calls Colton Cotton.
Well, thank you for joining us, Colton, Cotton, whoever the hell you are. We appreciate it. You know what? It is time to get your horns up, just like Colin and Ryan. He's got his horns up. And this is an exciting game. This is a fun game. I'm just scrolling through the chat real quick. Brandon Wyckoff. I'm always partial to Brandon because he was in my corner during the Oregon State Alabama debate. I got you, Brandon. I'm always going to be partial to you. Friend of the show, Nino's Corners, got his 42-7 prediction. Nino, if you want to win the free autographed Jonathan Brooks jersey, go put that in the comments section of yesterday's show. You got to like the show also and subscribe to the channel, but that applies for any of you guys. Like yesterday's show, subscribe to the channel, and put your score prediction in the comment. The first to get the score correct wins a free autographed Jonathan Brooks jersey, compliments of Elite Sports memorabilia. It's just like the one hanging up on Nash's wall behind you.
Yeah. And a quick shout out to Nino's cousin, Amarion Miller, having a great start to his college career. But yes, I love these jerseys behind me.
And look at that, Kevin Houston is keeping time. You gotta love that. And
everyone knows what time it is this week. Everyone knows.
Listen, you know what? We've also got early in the house, Gabriel Aguilar with a $10, $9.99 super chat. I love it. Guys, this is actually a great show to get your super chat questions in. If you have questions for us about the game, fire them in. This first half hour before we do our picks, especially, is a great time to get them in. We're happy to answer them, like this one. Sark opens the playbook like against Bama, and we went 40-23. Love the show, y'all. Thank you, Gabriel. We love the support. 40-23. I could definitely see that happen. I predicted in yesterday's show. I said 32-22, and I don't like it. Like Mike, everything I've seen about Texas this year, everything I've seen about OU this year tells me Texas is going to win big. That's not a slam against OU. My gut tells me this is a much better Texas team, than OU. My head tells me maybe give OU some of the benefit of the doubt with the defense, that maybe their defense is legit and they can slow Texas down a little. So that and the fact that it is a rivalry game, you never know what's going to happen. Hey, as Kyle Umling pointed out, Charlie Strong finished with 5-17, but he still rolled into the Cotton Bowl and beat OU. Anything can happen.
I think the Sark opens the playbook stuff is really interesting because I think the playbook has been open. I think defenses have been playing Texas a little differently. Like they've been more honed in on the deep shots. So I don't know if this is what Gabriel's saying here, but I think when a lot of people are like, oh, Sark's using the conservative playbook again, I think a lot of that is just like the defense is playing a little differently and he's calling the plays he thinks will work against that defense. So will he have something up his sleeve? Yes. I'm not sure. He's been last week was a ranked game against Kansas. I don't think he was just saving stuff in the playbook.
Well, I think the more 600-something yards too.
Yeah, exactly. And they
but you know what? Sark did come out and say after Bama that he wanted to run the ball more, but the game plan was to open it up and be a passing game plan. He thought they could have done better in the run game had he done that. Yeah. But he stuck with the game plan and that's what I think they're talking about when they say open the playbook. That was the only game this year where we've seen a pass-heavy script. I
think that's because he thought that was the best option. Like I don't think he was confident that they were going to be able to run the ball in Alabama. They ended up being able to, but I don't know if he was confident about that going into the game. So
I think that's accurate. But the same might be said about OU. To me, they look like they have a better run defense than they do pass defense. Like I think they can be got in the secondary.
I was going to say, Nash, I want to get your take on this too. I think the more interesting part is there's a lot of talk of has OU been saving stuff? Like, have they been able to, like, with the weak schedule they've had, have they been able to save stuff? And like, how much new stuff on offense and defense are we going to see from the Oklahoma play?
That's the gun on me. I had this note locked in.
I mean, that certainly is a factor. But at the end of the day, what we've seen is Pete Kwiatkowski's been able to adjust.
Yeah.
Time and time again. So I'm fine with it. But honestly, I think what really does it's been the thing that I keep going back to why Oklahoma, I can't see them winning this game. And I really can't see them scoring more than probably like 17 to 24 points. They're like, this is not the year that you want to be going into the Oklahoma Texas game without, if you're Oklahoma, okay, yeah, sue me, don't sue me, but for saying Oklahoma first, but going into this game, right? This is not the year that you want to be facing Texas and having no legit running back that you're not confident in. And when you do that, I think we're just going to be able to, dedicate more resources to stopping the pass and to limiting those explosive pass plays. Oklahoma, they're a team that they're not efficient in the red zone. And this is also to pair that again, you're pairing that against a Texas defense that has allowed one touchdown in the red zone all season. And that was, again, to the Rice. That's the very last drive for Rice. So I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah. I do think that's the most likely way this plays out is that Oklahoma has some stuff up their sleeve and with the script, and they come out looking pretty decent on offense, put up some points in the first quarter, and then PK makes those adjustments. The defense settles in and then just kind of sits on them the rest of the game. I do think that's probably the most likely scenario here.
Aaron, you've just like jumped ahead the script on me here because
it's a $10 super chat. It's a $10 super chat.
I understand that, but the point you're making is actually one of the points that we were talking about that was on the War Room report last night for the Orange Bloods. The Texas coaches think OU has a lot of wrinkles on both sides of the ball that they've been holding back, that they plan to unleash in the Texas game. So the Texas coaches have been telling the players this week, weather the storm. That they're expecting a lot of new things on both sides of the ball to come with OU to come out, including, by the way, I think we can expect to see OU playing more 3-3-5 than they typically do, just because that 3-3-5 flyover defense has given Sark some trouble in the past. OU kind of wants to implement that this week, but the War Room is saying the coaches are telling them, weather the storm, get through this wave of the unusual that we've not seen on tape before, and then we're going to be able to, we'll be just fine. By the way, that is just one of the many nuggets about this game that was in the War Room report on Orange Bloods last night. If you're not a member, you need to join right now. Scan this QR code. It'll take you to the sign-up page. It is free for the rest of the season. From now until the end of the football season, you will have Orange Bloods for free if you sign up using the promo code BEATOU. This is good until kickoff Saturday. So noon Eastern Saturday, 11 a.m. Central. Until then, you can sign up for free. I mean, what does this cost you? Nothing. It's free.
Nada.
Zip, zilch, zippo.
I mean, just this morning, like I just scrolled through and I was like, oh, deep dig, Alex Dunlap, like super like into it with the numbers, like a complete breakdown of the offense and defense. Click over to Jason Sukamel, matchup breakdown, every side of the ball for Texas OU, like a thorough matchup breakdown, like press conference notes, breaking news from Anwar. Like I don't know why you wouldn't take advantage of this deal.
Absolutely.
I mean, hey, it's and then please run a 3-3-5 against Jonathan Brooks. Please, I'm begging you, please. Especially with GJ Campbell looking nice. Yes, I would love that. Oklahoma, just go ahead and do it.
I think we could see them shift out of that. But you know what? With Venables, you're going to get multiple defenses, period. We've talked all week about how he will be aggressive, and that aggressiveness could lead to some big plays for Jonathan Brooks. I also think, by the way, this could be a game. So Sark said in his presser yesterday, he pointed out Brooks had 20 carries last week and Baxter 16. Obviously, Brooks had some big plays, so he ended up with 200 yards. But the division of carries was actually fairly close. And he said both are going to be needed throughout the season. I am right there with you, Nash, as a Jonathan Brooks truther. I've been hyping his praises, singing his praises all year long, expecting him since the end of last season. I've been on, telling you Brooks is going to be the guy. He's fine. He's going to be more than fine. He's a damn good running back. Also, there's a very, very good nugget about Jonathan Brooks's NFL draft prospects in the War Room. So again, check that out. Scan that code, go sign up with Beat OU. But this does make me think Sark is prepping us that there will be a pretty not 50-50, but there could be another still 60-40 split between Brooks and Baxter. And given the fact that this game always has somebody pop up who becomes a star, I don't know. I was just sitting there thinking, this might be the game Baxter breaks out. This might be the game where we see, because he's talented and he's been coming back from injury, but the dude's talented. I think this could be the game. He comes out, he breaks off a run or two, gets some big chunks, and he could end up being a star out of this game. I don't know. What do you guys think? Nash, I know you're all about Brooks. I get that, and I'm with you. But
I mean, look, I feel like I've been like the conductor of the Jonathan Brooks train. I've been on him ever since the first run against Rice. So ever since I saw that first carry, I was like, okay, this dude's he's got vision that other people don't.
I mean, this coaching staff, they love CJ Baxter. I mean, that has been one of my main takeaways from.
They're trying to keep him. Look, they're trying to keep. There's no. I understand the argument of trying to keep people fresh, right? But there's no reason that you're running C.J. Baxter out there on first and second down, while Jonathan Brooks is on his way to 200 yards on the day.
I agree, especially in this game too.
It's a 55-45 split. It's just like, and here's the deal: C.J. Baxter is like, this is no like negative comment about C.J. Baxter. C.J. Baxter is very talented, right? But it's just
Absolutely.
this is the reality of having talented teams. Jonathan Brooks had to sit behind Bijan Robinson and Roshan John. It happens, like it just happened. But at the same time, don't waste what you got right now. Goodness,
he's not. No, he's not. And that's not what I'm saying either. I'm not saying Baxter's going to end up being, usurping Brooks. What I'm saying is, this game always ends up propping up unknown, not unknowns, but sometimes unknowns, but just guys who haven't been stars in the past end up popping up with UTOU. There's something about when you're in the Cotton Bowl 50-50 burnt orange and crimson in the stands, it just brings out the best in some people. You know what I mean? Peter Gardere, for example. Peter Gardere was a quarterback who played at Texas prior to y'all's time. I don't know if you went 4-0 against OU.
He won 4 games against
the only quarterback on either side who has ever gone 4-0 again in this rivalry. Just saying.
I know Texas facts. I'm not going to know a bunch of Oklahoma Sooner players and facts and whatnot.
I got you.
I don't go study a bunch of Sooners.
Yeah, Peter sounds like a nice guy. I was trying to make the point that I think I agree with you now. I mean, this is the game. We've been talking about like Brooks's confidence and like he's on a heater. This is not the game to like pull back the carries. Like this is the game.
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm not saying this is what you were saying, Travis. This is just a take I had. Like my main takeaway from the press conference, all the press conferences this year, is the coaches love CJ Baxter. Yeah, there might be like a little bit of we want to keep this guy like around, but I think it's a lot of like they just think this guy is legit, and I think he's very good too. But this is not the game to pull back on Jonathan Brooks at all. Like when you have a running back on a heater, man, you just let him go.
And Jonathan Brooks he's been good in the pass blocking. Like you could I could legit do it every play of just him chipping defensive ends when there's multiple times,
and you will.
The entire reason why Quinn has been able to get a pass off is because
not only is he good
chipping a guy.
Not only is he good in pass blocking, he's also he also has really good hands. And I know he had a drop or two earlier in the season, but he's got really good hands, consistent hands.
Oh, both of them.
And is a threat in the passing game. He knows what to do with it when he catches the ball out wide. This is, Brooks is obviously the truth. And all right, I'll just go ahead and tell you the note. Talked about Jonathan, one NFL scout said Jonathan Brooks is actually the best running back in college football this year. That if he were to go into the NFL draft, that scout thinks he should be the first running back taken. All of which to say, you better jump on Jonathan Brooks gear now by scanning this QR code and going to check out Elite Sports Memorabilia. He's got a lot of Jonathan Brooks jerseys autographed, ready to go. All you have to do is scan it, go to the Facebook page where he sells all this gear. He's got orange, white, black jerseys. He's got everything. I believe he's got some Jonathan Brooks helmets for sale. JB was one of the first to join the Elite Sports Memorabilia family, and he is, it's some very cool stuff. The value of that will only go up because Brooks is headed to the NFL. That dude's a stud. And I feel like Texas fans may be underappreciating him a little bit, kind of like Jamal Charles was a little underappreciated for a long time. And then, obviously he had the breakout game against Nebraska, and that season was really good. It would have been great if he had I'm telling you right now, if Jamal Charles has stayed one more year, there's no way Texas is not winning the national championship in 2008. But anyway, I digress. The Jonathan Brooks is kind of along those same lines, I think. Obviously not Jamal Charles' speed, but still fast, great vision. He's got the cutting ability. He's plenty fast. Brooks says he's not fast, but he is. He's got more than enough speed. And in fact, John A. Barron said this week he's faster than Bijan Robinson, which I can kind of buy because Bijan never actually truly ran away from anyone. When you go back and look at his long plays, there were plenty of them where he kind of got caught at the end. Bijan's abilities, what separates him was not his speed. It's his ability to cut. It's his balance. It's his ability to stay up after getting hit. Bijan is elite of the elite of the elite at those skills, and that helps him propel him.
Well, he did also just run like a 4.46 in the NFL combine. So
okay, but that's not like Jamal Charles's 4.2.
I know. And, I mean, look, I'm a Jonathan Brooks truther, but he also did just get caught behind versus Kansas as well. But I don't know. Like
in one of
at
those
the end of the day, he's just such a smooth runner. The vision, it's so. I look. Hey, you've been seeing me have just such a smug smile over here, hearing that note about the NFL Draft Scout because people were calling me crazy when I'm sitting here saying that I think Jonathan Brooks could go in the upper rounds of the NFL draft. But hey, here I am.
Well, there you go. Now's your chance to get a Jonathan Brooks jersey. Compliments of ESM, not compliments. You're going to have to pay for it unless, of course, you correctly predict the score of tomorrow's game. But this one, assuming you don't do that, assuming you're not the first to do that, you can still get a JB jersey if you jump on that now. Ooh, just like somebody else just did. That's awesome. There is limited supplies, by the way. There are limited supplies, so you don't want to be left out. Listen, we're 20 minutes into the show. We haven't even mentioned the fact that Jatavian Sanders is going to play. Sark said yesterday he's good to go. He's going to play. Orange Bloods is reporting he's not 100% yet, but even a 90% Jatavian Sanders is better than 90% of the tight ends out there. You know what I mean? He can really stress the OU defense, even if he's only 90%. So JT Sanders playing is a big, big deal for Texas's offense. The one down note is Ryan Watts is actually he's a game time decision, but if you're reading between the lines, it's not looking good. It should not surprise anyone if Ryan Watts doesn't play, which again, that's why I picked Malik Muhammad to be the breakout star in our segment yesterday.
And so speaking of breakout stars, by the way, I said Jonte if JT plays. Jonte is my breakout star now, not Gunnar Helm.
There you go. All right. You're sticking with
your first touchdown. I have to get that clarified. I want that officially on the record.
I did want to go on to say, by the way, OU's receivers, they can test Texas's secondary. They've actually been pretty good this year. Jalil Farouk, Andrell Anthony, Drake Stoops is their,
he's their Stoop. Yeah, they are.
He's their
have
Stoop.
one.
He's not going to stretch deep, but he's got reliable hands.
How many Stoops are left, by the way?
I think
we through 5, right?
Because I think the other one, weren't they twins? And then one of them quit football.
I don't know.
So I think it's just Drake. He's in his super senior season.
Yeah, look, I'm not. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot. It's like the Plumleys, but like in mobile homes.
He's a really gritty guy. Coach on the field.
And very much so. But you know who's not? And the one I'm a little more worried about than anyone is Nick Anderson, who's kind of their fourth wide receiver. Nick Anderson, though, has 10 catches for 279 yards. So he is clearly has game-changing type ability. He's got breakout ability. He's got, you don't average 27 yards a catch. And by the way, 5 of those 10 catches went for touchdowns. So we've talked about how the Texas secondary can be susceptible to a deep ball every now and then. Nick Anderson is the kind of guy that can make you pay for that. So that's the one receiver that I'm really kind of just when he's on the field, I think Texas should pay extra attention to him because he's got that ability. But I don't know. You guys tell me, is the OU passing game Nash, what do you think? Is OU passing game going to be able to move the ball consistently?
I don't know. I've been fairly consistent saying I don't think that I don't think we're going to have to deploy too much resources to stop the run game versus Oklahoma, and we're going to be able to play Oklahoma further back than we played other teams. Like no two opponents are the same, and like playing Kansas when we're playing Kansas and Jason Bean, I mean, you gotta deploy some assets to stop the run, and what that's going to do is that's going to leave defensive backs 1-on-1. Now you're going to be able to see more of those. I think we're going to go back to more of a Washington Pete Kwiatkowski defensive game where you have a free safety sitting there. He's basically playing center field 30 yards back. And I honestly, I think that teams are going to have to pick and choose their shots, or Oklahoma is going to have to pick and choose their shots when some of our slower defensive backs are on the field.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. We've talked about it on the show. Sark went out of his way on Monday to mention that the defense needs to do a better job of limiting explosive plays, which tells me that's been a priority and that's been an area of focus in those defensive meeting rooms with Pete Kwiatkowski and with the defensive players. And I mean, you hit it the nail on the head. If they don't have to stack the box to stop the run game, if they can stop the run game just with the guys in the front, then that allows you to devote more resources to limiting those explosive plays. And that's when you force Oklahoma to put together those long drives, which we do not think they will be able to do consistently. Maybe at the beginning of the game when they're on the script and they've got some tricks up their sleeve. But yeah, I mean, I think I was encouraged when I heard Sark on Monday go out of his way to say we need to limit more explosive plays in the passing game, because I think that's pretty much all you have to do when you have a red zone defense and a front seven that's this good.
And here's the deal too. It's a real slippery slope, because if you take those shots and you're Oklahoma and you don't hit those shots, and Steve Sarkisian is out there and he's running clock and he's, playing complimentary football. Shout out to Lando Show who said that, the Lando Show on Twitter. That's an area where you could see just this game could just get out of hand real quick for Oklahoma if they are not able to hit those deep shots.
So, Elite Sports Memorabilia checking in saying if Gabriel's on his back all day, the OU wide receivers don't matter. And that's true. But this is not a game I'm expecting a lot of sacks. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that you can't get a lot of pressure on Gabriel, even just rushing 4. And I think that is going to be needed. But he gets the ball out so quick. I don't think Texas is going to end up connecting on a lot of sacks Saturday. I hope I'm wrong. If I am, then this could be a blowout. This could, but pressure on Gabriel will be key. OU fans are hanging their hat. They keep saying, oh, well, Quinn Ewers can't handle pressure well. I think this season has proven that wrong, unless, of course, the pressure is up the middle, in which case I would tell you no quarterback handles pressure up the middle well. None. Not a single one. Not one in the NFL. None. Hell, even Patrick Mahomes doesn't handle pressure up the middle well. That's just
breaking news. Quarterback does worse under pressure.
Yeah, but if Texas can get pressure with just the front 4, then that's going to bode very, very well for this game. You know what I mean? Like that, because it, like you guys mentioned, it does limit what they can do with the ball. You can drop back 7, keep the pressure with the front 4, and you're better able to cover up and make sure maybe you do get a coverage sack here or there, or you force Dylan Gabriel to escape and you try to clean that up that way. I don't know, but this is going to be the Texas defensive line. I think is key to this game in shutting down the run and getting pressure on Dylan Gabriel. And luckily for Texas fans, this Texas defensive line is really damn good. I mean, really, really damn good. Hopefully it doesn't come down to just the defensive line. The Stoney Case play is my all-time favorite Red River rivalry play. I love it. His goal line stand, but I don't want to see that again. That's just too late in the game. I mean, like the nerves at that point are just on edge. And this team's too good to get to that point against this OU team.
Should I know that one? What was that recent?
Absolutely, you should know. You should Google Stoney Case goal line stand UTOU.
Well, which year was it?
Early 90s, 92, 93.
No, that's I
Really
should know
not.
it. That
Aaron,
was
here's the thing.
Not
You're not.
alive.
You don't have to
Travis.
be limited to knowing just what happened in your memorable lifetime. You can learn things that happened before that. It's called history. People study it. It's possible to know things that happened before your lifetime. I'm just saying.
There's only so much room in the brain.
Did you know Stoney Case Nash? Stoney Clark. Sorry.
No, not at all. No.
Thank you.
Not at all.
Look, as soon as you said early 90s, I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, look.
Guys, this is one of the iconic moments in this rivalry. Both of you, I tell you what, both of you Google it right now, and whenever we roll the Specs commercial, you should hit play on it.
I'm laughing that he got the name wrong.
Travis didn't even know who it was.
But you should know
he's
me
chastising us right now.
You should know me well enough by now. I get my own name wrong half the time. Names, I am horrible with names. That's not an indicator. The fact is, I know the play. I know how OU was rolling out, about to try and score. Stoney Clark comes out of nowhere and knocks the snot out of them, stopping them on the 2-yard line, and Texas won the game.
Anything pre-pylon cam is just basically irrelevant. Like
I'm not the only
Aaron,
one.
Are you getting pumped up from that play? I'm not really.
Who is telling you?
I'm not looking it up. It's fine. Like, was it in black and white? Did they have color?
Oh, you know what? Don't make me. Don't. You know what?
That was disrespectful.
That was pilot black and white. Jesus Christ. You young whippersnappers need to learn a thing or two about.
The rivalry just didn't have much juice. Like they do the overshot of the broadcast and like split right down the middle, and it just be black and white. Like there's just nothing. Like there is no split right down the middle.
One slightly darker.
This was like 92, 91. They had color television then. They didn't have HD, but they had color television. Ay. Yeah, seriously, I'm just disgusted with both of you. How do you not? This was one of the biggest moments in the rivalry.
Well, I think
I'm especially disappointed with you, Nash. I expect this kind of thing from him. This was not a shock. All right, 94. Okay, 94. I'll buy it.
Mid 90s,
early 90s. That's early 90s.
Yeah,
I know exactly where I was when I saw the game. I was not at the game like Benny Rogers, which was really cool. That was a nail biter of a game. I wasn't there, but I remember exactly where I was. In fact, honestly, that was also the day I saw the movie Memphis Belle. So
that's so
just
good.
saying. All right, listen. I need a drink right now. I'm just irritated with my co-host. I need a drink, and that means I need to jump on the Specs chat. I mean the Specs online, or the Specs app, and go find some fine. I could use some scotch right now. I could use a nice Balvenie. A Godfather with a Balvenie 12 is my go-to drink. That's what I love. If there's something else you love, go check out Specs. They've got the best wine, spirits, food, everything you could possibly need for game day on Saturday. If you're going to be at the fair, you want to make sure you got something at least. Yeah, look, you're going to have the wax cup beer. I get that. But you need to at least make sure that you have something ready to go in the hotel room by the time you get home. If you're watching the game at home, you don't want to be missing out on this. They even have, dare I say, Nash, they've got some great cheese that is not just out of a can. Just saying. They've got great food. They've got great drinks. They've got everything you need for your game day preparation. Be sure to check out Specs.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
Deep fried
you
cheesy crackers.
You drink with your pinky up while you eat your uppity cheese.
It's possible. You think they got the deep? Are you going to go any deep fried, Nash? You got any crazy plans for the food up there?
Look, everything is crazy plans for the food up there. I have you seen the list of the food? Look, here's the deal. Half the list, it's like, okay, look, that could be good, okay, and then half the list is just like, what?
I'm saying, like, are you gonna go for it? Like, you gonna try it out?
I'm gonna try some stuff. I don't want to kill myself.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I want to walk out
I've only
alive.
been once.
Well, I gotta drive home so I can do the
Clips,
get the game
yeah.
cut up. So
That makes perfect sense. By the way, Elite Sports Memorabilia saying he needs ticket prices to come down by the end of the day today. That's not likely to happen, Brandon. That's not likely to happen. The prices have only been going up. But you know what? We got you covered because we interviewed the guy from Ticketsmarter.com. He was on our show last week, and he gave us a little promo code you can use if you are buying tickets. It's TS Jeff, Jeff 5. TS Jeff 5. Use that promo code at checkout and you get a discount just for tuning in to OB Live, just for tuning in to get your horns up. TS Jeff 5 is the discount code to apply when you go buy your tickets. It's we're that kind of helpful. We save you money. We give you Orange Bloods for free. We give you a chance to win a free autographed Jonathan Brooks jersey. Now we're giving you discounted tickets. What more do we need to do to earn your like? So go ahead right now. Just out to show a little appreciation for our generosity. You should go ahead and smash that like button. Or if you're as disgusted with them for not knowing anything pre, 2010, smash the like button as well. Just because
you do realize that we were children that had lives and and like I think
you grew up
with Aaron
in the age of the internet. You have Google your entire life. It's inexcusable.
We also had baseball practice.
It's inexcusable for you not to know it. I had baseball practice too growing up. I still knew things that happened prior to my birth. It's one of these things. If you are a well-rounded person, if you do things more than just eat cheese out of a can or watch SportsCenter all day long, you may learn a thing or two about the world beyond just the immediate here and now. It's something you both should jump on. I'm just telling you right now. Now, having said that, maybe that's why, because you are so singularly focused on the here and now, you both are better at the picks than I am this year. Nash in particular is still in the lead on our college football picks.
Bad week. Look, I knew going in, okay? I knew going in. I was not happy about this last week.
Travis, maybe you should focus a little more on the present. I mean, just look at this. Like maybe you should stop lecturing us about learning about stuff.
I was 6-4 last week. Again, it was week 1 that just absolutely killed me. I was like 1-8 on week 1. I've been scraping back since then. Aaron with the big week last week. He was the winner, 7-3. He's pulled back above 500. Nash is well above 500, and I need some help to get there. I'm still below 500. That's okay.
There's
a lot of football left. There's a lot of football left in this season. I am and you know what, Benny? I am kicking ass and taking names this morning.
And shout out Jay Ward, a fellow cheese out of the can.
You know what? Okay, Jay Ward, kudos to you for eating cheese out of the can
efficient
and watching SportsCenter. I'm betting.
It doesn't sound that bad. It just doesn't sound that bad.
Look, you pair the cheese out of the can, okay, with the non-name brand Ritz crackers.
I will go back to I'm not above eating cheese out of a can. I've done it many a time and I like it. But that doesn't mean that it's uppity if you then enjoy good cheese as well. Cheese out of a can is not actually cheese. We all know this, right? That's not really cheese. Just saying.
It's yellow.
And yellow is not a natural cheese color. That's
like the main. It's like the main color of cheese, but that's fine. We should
it
pick.
Really isn't. Nope, it really isn't.
Aaron's enthusiasm is just.
No, I mean I just
No,
saying
good,
yellow, like cheese isn't yellow. That's just a bad take. Like I've got no response for that.
No, it actually.
What color is the Green Bay Packers cheese wheel?
Yeah, I mean they literally wear it on their head. Like it's yellow.
Most cheese, that's not true. Real cheese, that's not true. Cheese out of a can is fine. I'm not judging you for that, but don't judge others for then eating actual cheese.
What about my American cheese?
Yeah, America. I do love America. Listen, guys, it's time to get to our picks. There's actually some pretty good games this week. It's not like last week. Last week was chock full of great games. This week, it's like UT and OU is the big game, obviously. But there's still some good games out there. And let's start with Kentucky versus Georgia. Georgia comes into this game. They're 14.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 47.5. They're 14.5-point favorites despite struggling last week against Auburn. Now, I will grant you, the game was in Auburn at Jordan-Hare. It is a rivalry game, not, Georgia, obviously, Auburn and Alabama is the big rivalry. Georgia-Auburn, though, is a traditional, it's probably the longest rivalry in the SEC. It is a big one. So you got to kind of take their struggles a little bit with a grain of salt, but that's not the first time we've seen them struggle. Here's the thing, by the way. Georgia has actually struggled with rush defense. There's something like they're in the 60s in the country this year in rush defense, and they haven't really played anyone all that great. Kentucky comes into this game with a very good run offense. The Wildcats have been able to run the ball very well. They've got I'm looking up their, because I am bad with names, I forget the guy's name, but their running back is Ray Davis.
Yeah, Ray Davis.
Of course, Ray Davis, the senior transfer, played at Vanderbilt. He's now Kentucky. He's tied with Jonathan Brooks over the last 3 weeks for the most rushing yards, and then the Notre Dame running back, I'm blanking on his name. Audric Estime.
Estime, yeah. Estime's yes. He's 1 yard behind them.
These are the top running backs in the nation. Ray Davis is right there with them, absolutely. And Georgia struggles with the run game. All of which to say, I'm still picking Georgia. I still am a little bit of a Georgia believer. Listen, if they struggle again this week or if they flat out lose, and it's possible Kentucky's undefeated, Kentucky is a good football team. They have a decent pass game with the transfer from North Carolina State was their transfer quarterback. I'm bad with names. Leary, it's the end of a very long. Devin Leary, thank you. The NC State transfer. He's been okay. He doesn't protect the ball very well. He's got quite a few interceptions, but the Georgia offense, the Georgia roster is still loaded with studs. They still have a lot of good players. They still know how to play defense. 14.5-point favorites. I think Georgia covers that. Give me the Bulldogs. Let's go to you, Aaron. What have you got?
Yeah, home game for Georgia. Laying 14.5. This is one of the toughest ones that we have on the dock here for me. Chris Gordy's in my head with this one. Like, I was ready to pick Kentucky all week, and then Chris Gordy came on Tuesday and just saying, like, this is the game where Georgia's finally going to wake up. Like, this is their first kind of big game, and they're going to get up for this one. I'm not sure Kentucky's run defense is ready for Georgia. I'm going to go Kentucky, though, plus 14.5. I'm going to go with the philosophy that, like, gets me, like, it always works for me in the NFL and doesn't work for me in college. The total here is 47.5. That is a low total. So if you're going to give me 14.5 points in a game where not many points are expected, I just want to go with the team getting the points in a low-scoring game. So I'm going to hope that the total is around 44, 47 points, and then rock with the 14.5 points here with Kentucky. But I think Georgia wins.
Solid reasoning. That I get it. Nash?
Yeah, honestly, I think that Kentucky's defense is pretty good. I don't share necessarily the same opinion, but a good thing we're not picking a winner here. I'm just picking a Kentucky covering a 14.5-point spread, which is way too big for a Georgia team. I understand like Georgia maybe coming out of the gates and all. They have been atrocious against the run. Like, it's like they were second in run defense the last 3 years. And then this year they're like 63rd in run defense. That's not the pairing that you want going up against a guy like Ray Davis. So I think Kentucky does enough to cover.
Actually, Colby, my go-to is I take Velveeta, which is not real cheese either, but I take Velveeta, pair it with some Rotel, obviously, throw in some sausage, and throw it on the smoker for about an hour, and it gives that really good smoke flavor mixed in with the queso. That's my go-to party cheese. it's just good. I love it. I am also not above saltine crackers and cheese, Zovi, but not with the cheese slices. I leave those just for the sandwiches. Sorry.
I've got no takes. Like I literally have no response. Like I'm out of cheesesteaks. I'm sorry.
Travis is
Literally
totally
gonna I was literally going to type in the chat, like saying, "Hey, Aaron's out. Aaron's done with the cheese. Aaron's done with it."
I got nothing left in the tank, like cheese wise. I've just too much baseball, football. Like
Too much cheese.
I don't have room for cheese takes this week. Like my brain is full.
This is OU week, damn it.
Yeah.
Let's get on to more picks. All right. The next game is Maryland, Ohio State. I think this is the big noon kickoff game. Is that right on Fox? I'm pretty
yes,
sure.
it is. Yes.
Yeah, it is. So Maryland is going on the road. Listen, Ohio State 20-point favorites. It's at home. So at home for Ohio State. The Buckeyes coming off they had a bye week last week, but they were coming off the big win at Notre Dame. Aaron, what have you got in this game?
Yeah, I'm going to go Ohio State. I think this is kind of a statement game there. I know Maryland's played well so far this year. I don't think their competition has been that great. I think at home, this is one of those times where Ohio State just comes out and kind of gives a little bit of a beatdown. We're going to have those college football playoff rankings kind of soon. Ohio State, like they're gonna want to start running up the score on some of these teams and start to make a statement. So I'm going to go the Buckeyes, laying the 20 points in this one.
Nash?
This is you got Tua's brother, Talia. I'm not going to try and pronounce the last name because I know I'm going to get it wrong.
Tagovailoa.
There you go. He's senior. He's doing well so far. 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 76 QBR. I think that Maryland. This is not your Tom Herman's Maryland. Okay, this is a better Maryland. I think they do enough to cover a 20 point. I think 20 points is just too large.
Jesus, Tom Herman's Maryland. That Maryland was good enough to beat Texas twice, home and away. I mean,
yeah, winning is hard.
Two Brooks question. The total here is 57. Two Brooks. So kind of going against what I said, but 57 is enough points. I feel like that they can still cover the 20.
So Maryland's pass offense is like 19th in the country with Tagovailoa. They actually are capable of putting up points. Ohio State, I do think, has a good defense, but I think 20 is too much. I'm not sure. Ohio State could easily win by 3 touchdowns, but I'm gonna pick Maryland to cover. Ohio State's still gonna win, but I'm picking Maryland to cover. Let's move on to Notre Dame, Louisville. This is actually a 2 ranked teams. I mean, Louisville's in the top 25 now. They're undefeated. It's at Louisville. It's at home. Jeff Brom's got his team playing really well in his first season with the Cardinals, which is Louisville's his home too, by the way. So Jeff Brom's going home. He's a damn good coach. Notre Dame is 6.5-point favorites. They haven't been lighting it up even in their wins. The last 2 weeks, obviously Ohio State and Duke were both low scoring, tight ball games. Notre Dame obviously lost against Ohio State because they couldn't get 11 men on the field. And they beat Duke last week with a game-winning drive, which was, a 4th down conversion here and there. It was a hell of a game-winning drive. But the over-under is 54. If I were really betting this, I'd probably take the under. But I think this is a little too much to ask Louisville to win this one in Brom's first year. Notre Dame's really good. Audric Estime is really good. We already talked about he's one of the best in the country. I think Notre Dame runs the ball and wins, even though they've got Sam Hartman. I think this is a run game for them. Give me Notre Dame. They are going to win by more than a touchdown. It's 6.5-point spread. So a touchdown or better. Nash, do you agree?
Yeah, I think Notre Dame. I think they're going to be able to get the job done this week versus Louisville. I was not impressed with Louisville. I forget who they were playing last I saw them, but it was just that was one game that was like no one wanted to win the game. And this is Notre Dame is just a different beast with Sam Hartman coming in.
Notre Dame has had a wild ride against the spread, man. We've all been on them the past 2 weeks, and like the point spread specifically has just come down to some crazy stuff. Travis, you mentioned back-to-back weeks against Ohio State and Duke. Those were both like pretty intense, emotional games. Now they're going on the road to Louisville. this is the game that Louisville has had circled on the calendar. Like everyone's going to be fired up. I'm going to take Louisville plus the 6.5 here, just because I think it's a tough spot for a Notre Dame team that's been through a lot lately to lay a full 6.5 on the road. I'm going to go with that logic there and take the 6.5 here with Louisville.
And I do also want to say, like, Sam Hartman too. That dude, he's one of my favorite people now in college football. I don't know if y'all saw what he did. Like, Riley Leonard got injured, and he stayed at, instead of going and hanging out and celebrating with his team, he stayed to get it, like, to share a word with Riley. And I don't know, that was just one of, like, the cool, like, that was a cool move.
He's a good dude. And a good quarterback. Riley Leonard's probably the better NFL prospect, but I like both of those quarterbacks, and those are both good games. I will say, by the way, Louisville they're undefeated, but they haven't exactly been killing it. They beat a very bad Georgia Tech team by 5, 39-44, 39-34. They beat a pretty bad Indiana team, 21-14. North Carolina State, they won 13-10. Now, NC State does have a very good defense, but they have no offense. So they haven't exactly been killing it. Again, I'm going to stick with my Notre Dame pick. LSU going on the road to Columbia, Missouri to take on Mizzou. LSU is 5.5-point favorites. By the way, the over-under 64.5 on this one. LSU cannot stop anybody. Their defense is just disappeared. And I really thought they were going to have a good defense coming into the season. That has proven to be woefully inaccurate. They gave up 55 last week to Ole Miss, an Ole Miss team which couldn't do anything against Alabama. And granted, Alabama's D is really good. But, Aaron, what do you think is going to happen? Is LSU – by the way, if LSU loses this, they are for sure out of the SEC race. That will be their second conference loss, third loss overall. And Mizzou's undefeated, having beaten K-State, by the way, which is still a really good team. Aaron, do you think LSU goes on the road and wins, or are you taking Missouri?
Yeah, LSU minus 5.5 on the road. Do I feel good about laying 5.5 on the road with what I've seen from the LSU defense? No. Am I going to do it anyway? I think so, because it is still LSU. I still like what I've seen from Jaden Daniels so far this year. I think they're going to score a lot of points. This isn't one of my more confident picks, but I am going to go with LSU. Sark After Dark, I appreciate the enthusiasm. Like, we are fired up. Hot takes. I mean, just check. I mean, did you watch yesterday's show? I said the Sooner Schooner was going to fall over. Travis had a Byron Murphy touchdown. Nash literally has Texas winning by 1 billion points. Like, we are ready to go. We've got takes all week. Picking some other games right now, but I
OU will not score a touchdown.
There. What's up?
OU will not score a touchdown. No.
There it is. I mean, what more can you ask for?
That's
I literally think the horse is going to fall over on the field. Like, they're not scoring a touchdown.
Scooter, not the horse, right?
They can all fall. I mean, I hope the horse is okay, but like if it takes a tumble, that's fine.
Aaron does. If it has a Sooner logo on it, I want it down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want the horse to get hurt, but like if they have to pick it up off the turf, like I'm here for the memes. That'd be kind of funny.
Which exist because this happened before. In your lifetime.
Exactly. It's one of my favorite memes.
All right, Nash. Let's get back on track. Missouri, LSU. Who you got?
I got Missouri to cut. I think that this is actually a chance where Missouri wins the game. This is just Ellis, like this LSU defense. I don't trust it at all. It is what's going on. I just don't get it. You got they've turned what everybody thought was one of the best. Harold Perkins was expected to be one of the best defensive players in college football, and now there's wanted posters everywhere for him. So, not wanted like as in like breaking the law, but like wanted. We need to find this guy. Like he's on the back of milk cartons. The elementary school milk cartons that you get. I don't trust it. I'm taking Missouri to not only cover, but I'm going to say I think they'll win. It's also a home game for Missouri, right?
Yep. It's in Missouri.
It is a home game. It's in Columbia.
And then another instance of rushing the field. Yet another one.
So, I will say Missouri's defense, LSU's defense is god awful, but Jaden Daniels is the truth. He's having another great year. The LSU offense is really good. But you know what? Missouri's offense isn't bad. They're 29th in the country. They're actually one spot ahead of OU. I really struggle with. Oh, I'm sorry. That's defense. Missouri's defense.
Oh, hey, Luther. They do have Luther Burden, possibly the best wide receiver in college football. So
they do, actually. You're right. But I was looking at defense. So they've got the 29th best defense in the country. Their offense is not as highly ranked. It is, oh Lord, it's not even in the top 100, I don't think. So it's easy to see. It's easy to see how, well, it could be. I'm just not looking at it right. Anyway.
Their offense is 47 points per game, 21 in yards per game.
Okay. So they can take advantage of LSU's bad defense.
They get it. They get a lot of they're a very good passing team. They get 10 point. They're getting 10.7 yards per attempt on the pass. That's fourth in the nation. So
then they can absolutely take advantage of LSU's defense. I'm going to take Missouri as well. So Aaron's out on a limb with this one with the LSU, but it's not inconceivable they win. But I think this team is reeling. Give me Mizzou. I'll take the Tigers.
Yep.
Arkansas, Ole Miss is another big SEC game. Ole Miss coming off, of course, the big win against LSU, keeping them in the SEC West race after losing to Alabama. They still only have one loss now. Ole Miss, 11.5-point favorite. 63.5 is the over-under. Arkansas is kind of a mystery team. They look good kind of one week. They come back. They look like pigs in crap, I don't quite know what to expect with Arkansas week in and week out. For that matter, I'm not entirely sure what to expect from Ole Miss week in and week out. So let's start with you, Nash. What have you got in this game?
I don't got too much. I just know that Ole Miss they have the ability to put up some points, and Arkansas, like you said, it's just they're it just comes down to Ole Miss has been more consistent than Arkansas has been consistent. So I'm just gonna I'm taking Ole Miss to cover.
Yeah, this is the Ole Miss coming off the big win. Is that going to build a lot of momentum for them and carry them into this week, or is this a potential letdown spot? Because while I don't trust Arkansas, I do think Arkansas is good enough to where if you're not focused and you do have a letdown, they can come in here and cover an 11.5 points. I have a lot of friends from Arkansas. They've all moved on to basketball season, so I'm just going to take Ole Miss minus.
Well, and also too, Arkansas just came out of a very physically draining game versus Texas A&M. So
yeah,
this is like this could be a week where Arkansas they're worn down, and Ole Miss
they got beat up.
Dog.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to lay the point.
In fact, did KJ Jefferson get injured in that game against A&M?
I don't think so.
I was busy watching Texas.
Yeah, I was too. But you know what? I don't trust Arkansas. I don't know that I trust Ole Miss either, but I'm still taking Ole Miss to cover the 11.5. That's a big spread, but I'll take Ole Miss. At least we're all in it together. So even if I lose, I don't lose ground to you guys. There you go. That's
loser's mentality, Travis. That is a loser's mentality.
Whatever. Right now, you saw the stats. Right now, I have to sometimes stake a claim opposite y'all just to try and get back some ground.
God, dude.
All right, let's move on.
6. That's not the move.
It's not a great year, but I've told you guys from week one, you should not look to me when it comes to gambling and picks against the spread. That's not my forte. I can talk about the game, but that doesn't mean I can pick the game. Anyway, Washington State, UCLA is our next game. This is an interesting clash of styles. Obviously, UCLA is the ground them, pound them, tough defense. They actually have a very good defense. They're not the explosive UCLA. Washington State is. Washington State will sling the rock all over the field. Cam Ward, the Incarnate Word transfer, by the way, now playing up for Kenny Dicker to Washington State. He's legit. I think he's really good. I'm riding Cam Ward, and I'm taking Washington State to beat UCLA. But this really is a a battle of strength versus strength,
Yeah, it's fire on ice.
explosive offense versus tough defense. I think this is an interesting game to watch. UCLA 3.5-point favorites, by the way. At home, UCLA 3.5-point favorites. I'm still taking Washington State. Aaron?
Yeah, I think this is just you just saw Washington State beat Oregon State, so now you think like they're up there with Texas and Georgia, so you're just rolling Washington State. So I'm going to zag. I'm going to go UCLA -3.5 here at home.
It has nothing to do
I'm
with
just
Oregon
messing with
State.
you. I know. But I am picking UCLA.
All right.
I wasn't really impressed with what I saw last week versus the Utah backup quarterbacks. I mean, like Utah, they need Cam Rising bad. UCLA, I think that going up against this Washington State quarterback this week is just a completely different animal. This dude, he's one of my he's a sleeper that I think that could end up being on the podium at the Heisman at the end of the year for the Heisman Award.
I'm with you. I think Cam Ward's in the discussion kind of already. He's creeping up boards. Going into UCLA could be another week to help him rise up. We're running out of time. I'm going to skip the UCF Kansas. I'm going to skip Texas Tech Baylor. Nash was the only one who was going to pick Tech, and Nash was the only one who was going to pick UCF.
I'm sticking by them. I'm find you somebody as loyal as me picking.
All right, we can keep those on the board because Aaron and I are both picking Kansas 1.5 over UCF. Aaron and I are both picking Baylor 1.5-point dogs to Texas Tech. The game's in Waco. Nash has got Tech. Nash has got UCF. So you can keep them on the board for the picks, but we're not going to go through our reasoning.
Yeah, I will keep those for the record. Let's get to the last two.
Same, by the way, Oregon State Cal. Oregon State 9.5-point favorites. I'm picking Oregon State. Aaron will pick Cal just out of.
I'm not laying 9.5 points with DJU on the road, and then plus we've got Cal top 10 in EPA per rush against on defense. So
okay,
that means Oregon State might not be able to run the ball, so it's going to be on DJU to throw the ball on the road here to cover 9.5. Yeah, I'm going to go with Cal.
They're not going to have to throw. They're still going to be able to run the ball. They ran the ball against Utah. I'm not worried about them running a ball against Cal. Nash, who do you got? I know you're saying
I'll pick Cal, but why? This is my official protest. I'm going to choose to pick the TCU versus Iowa State game. I'm taking TCU to cover over Iowa State. I'm done with this Oregon State nonsense.
Well, Iowa State's a really bad team, but you know what?
Not as bad as Oregon State.
This is why I always like Brandon in the chat. Go Beavs! I love me some Beavs. That's all I'm saying. The big game Saturday, apart from UTOU, the game that actually impacts Texas somewhat. I mean, if you're looking at the college football playoff picture, Alabama going on the road to College Station to take on A&M. It's Bama are 1.5-point favorites. Vegas is expecting a tight game. 46.5 is the over/under. Vegas is expecting a tight, low-scoring game. I think all of us are expecting a tight, low-scoring game. Aaron, let's start with you. Alabama, A&M. Who you got?
Yeah, I've been waffling on this one all week. I'm going to go with Texas A&M. They've been very good against the run this year. I don't trust Jalen Milroe to throw the ball consistently on the road in that environment at Kyle Field. The A&M offense has been solid. I think they're going to be able to put up enough points. I'm going to go with the Aggies in this one, obviously, hoping I'm wrong. I hope we get Dude, if I hit the parlay of Texas beating Oklahoma, A&M losing at home, and then the Diamondbacks beating the Los Angeles Dodgers, you guys are just never going to see me again, in a good way. I'm going to be floating. It's going to be great. But I'm going to pick A&M just because I think that's the right pick.
Nash?
Aaron will be rising like a helium balloon if that happens.
It's over.
Yeah. But I'm taking Bama, but I just think this is just going to be a defensive battle game. I think Max Johnson, he's going to be going up against it. Alabama, I don't think they've let up over 10 points since playing Texas. So this is going to be a tough test for Max Johnson. But honestly, I think at the end of the day, Jalen Milroe it's going to come down to his legs and his ability to get some runs going.
And I've struggled with this one all week long. I still don't really know who to pick. At the end of the day, I think A&M, this is their Super Bowl. I'm picking them just because my head tells me Alabama's defense is good enough to shut down. In fact, I am switching. I'm going with Bama. My head tells me Alabama's defense is good enough to shut down Max Johnson and the Aggie offense. I'm not entirely a believer in Max Johnson. I think he's a decent backup. I think he can win a game or two. Can he go on? Can he beat Alabama, though? And that defense, I'm not sold on that. Having said that, A&M plays really well against Alabama.
Nash, I saw your heart just drop.
Yeah, no,
flip
I'm
to your
like,
side.
I know, but I can't help it. By the way,
I might have to switch the pick.
I'm wearing maroon, not for A&M. I'm also an Athens Hornet. They lost to Lindale last week. They're playing Henderson this week. They need to come back for a win. But I think I give me Bama. Give me the they'll beat the 1.5 point spread. The spread's kind of irrelevant when it's 1.5. You're really picking who's going to win the game. So give me Bama. I'll take it. That was a tough one, but listen, if you enjoyed the show, please hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. By the way, there's a lot more good UTOU talk coming up throughout the day. Anwar Richardson with the Old Fashioned Sports Show is going to be breaking down a lot of the notes he's gathered throughout the week ahead of the game. Football with Friends is this afternoon. House Divided right before that. I skipped over House Divided with Jeff Ketchum and Chad Hastings. It's a great show. A lot of good banter. It's a Texas-centric show. They're going to talk UTOU, but Chad is an Aggie, so they'll be talking A&M Alabama too. Football with Friends later. Again, if you guys are traveling up to Dallas, safe travels this week. Hope you have a great time. Stay safe in Dallas. Don't do anything stupid. The temptation is always there in this weekend. Don't do anything stupid. Stay somewhat sober. Keep your head a little bit. That's all I'm saying. But otherwise, have a great week. Hope it's a great weekend for all of us. Let's enjoy the game. No matter what happens, this is what makes college football special. So for Nash, for Orange Bloods, Aaron Little, I'm Travis